finish a Zoom call, close the laptop, and keep hearing the one sentence that sounded slightly wrong. You stand in the shower replaying an email you already sent. You lie beside someone you love while your mind quietly reorganizes the entire day. Then, at 3 in the morning, you wake from a dream about missing a flight you never booked. Your body is in bed, but your mind feels as if it has been working a second shift. People tell you to switch off, to stop thinking and let the day go. But the day does not leave simply because the room becomes dark. The unfinished conversation, unreadable expression, and postponed decision wait beside the bed like unopened letters. And sometimes you wonder whether deep thinking is the reason sleep never feels simple. Maybe your mind is more active than other people's, or maybe it is simply more tired. The honest answer is less flattering and more useful. A reflective mind may carry more open loops, but that does not automatically make it more intelligent. It means attention stayed with certain experiences longer, giving sleep more emotionally charged material to process. You are not weak because your mind needs recovery, and you are not broken because recovery takes time. Welcome back. I'm Alex, and this is what sleep does to a mind that never seems to stop noticing. The first thing to understand is that sleep is not 8 empty hours when the brain shuts down. The outside world becomes quieter, but the brain moves through a repeating architecture of non-REM and REM sleep. During lighter non-REM sleep, your grip on the room gradually loosens. The refrigerator hum matters less, and the car passing outside fades before it becomes a story. During deeper slow-wave sleep, large populations of neurons move through highly synchronized rhythms. Breathing and heart rate generally slow, while the body shifts toward restoration and energy regulation. Then, REM sleep changes the atmosphere. Brain activity becomes more wake-like in important ways, emotional imagery often intensifies, and vivid dreams become more likely. At the same time, the brainstem suppresses most voluntary movement through REM atonia. That is why you can run through an airport in a dream without physically sprinting across the bedroom. If awareness returns before that muscle inhibition fully releases, sleep paralysis can occur. The mind feels awake, the body does not respond, and fear quickly fills the gap with an explanation. For most people, the episode passes quickly, although frequent or distressing experiences deserve professional attention. But here is where sleep becomes especially important for a deep processor. Every day leaves traces across the brain, but not every trace deserves equal strength. The compliment from a stranger should not occupy the same space as a skill you spent months learning. The sound of a coffee cup touching a table should not compete forever with the memory of an important conversation. Waking life keeps adding signals, and sleep helps the system decide which ones should remain loud. Giulio Tononi and Chiara Torelli at the University of Wisconsin developed the synaptic homeostasis hypothesis around this problem. Their proposal is that waking experience creates an overall pressure towards stronger synaptic connections. Those changes support learning, but maintaining all of them at full strength would be biologically expensive. Slow-wave sleep may help renormalize many connections while preserving meaningful differences between them. Think of a crowded photo after the contrast has been adjusted. Nothing important has to disappear, but the subject becomes easier to see because the background stops shouting. Animal studies have found wake-related increases and sleep-related decreases in several measures associated with synaptic strength. Still, synaptic homeostasis is an influential hypothesis, not the final explanation for why humans sleep. Sleep can stabilize learning, connect new information with older knowledge, and sometimes make a hidden pattern easier to recognize. It also supports forgetting, which sounds like failure until you imagine remembering every parking space, notification, and passing face equally. Forgetting is not always the enemy of intelligence, because sometimes it is what allows intelligence to find the signal. If this is changing the way you think about your own mind, please hit the like button and support the channel. One like tells me you want more grounded psychology about the experiences people rarely know how to explain. There is also the question of physical maintenance inside the sleeping brain. In 2013, Lulu Xie, Maiken Nedergaard, and colleagues at the University of Rochester studied fluid movement in sleeping mice. They reported increased interstitial space during sleep or anesthesia and faster clearance of beta amyloid from brain tissue. The finding was important, but the internet turned it into a cleaner story than the evidence allows. The study did not prove that every human brain cell shrinks by the same amount each night, and it did not establish sleep as a magical washing machine that removes every harmful substance by morning. It showed that sleep altered the physical environment of the mouse brain in ways that supported clearance. Human researchers are still studying how cerebrospinal fluid, blood flow, breathing, and sleep interact. So the cleanup metaphor is useful only when we remember that the machinery is more complicated than the metaphor. Your brain is not taking out the trash in one simple nightly trip. It is maintaining conditions that a long day of activity gradually changed. Then there are dreams, the part of sleep people remember most and understand least. A tense performance review becomes a courtroom with no doors. A fear of disappointing your family becomes a train leaving while you search for shoes. A relationship you ended years ago returns inside a grocery store that never existed. The images are invented, but the emotions can be completely real. Dreams combine fragments of memory, bodily sensation, emotion, imagination, and spontaneous association. Researchers have proposed roles for dreaming in threat simulation, memory integration, and emotional adaptation. No single theory can decode every dream or turn it into a prediction about the future. A dream may echo something you are carrying without becoming a secret message you must obey. The same caution applies to the phrase overnight therapy. REM sleep occurs in a low noradrenaline environment, and sleep clearly matters for emotional regulation. But emotional memory is also influenced by non-REM sleep, and research does not support one simple universal mechanism. Sleep does not erase heartbreak before breakfast. It may change how memories are connected, revisited, and emotionally carried forward. For someone who notices deeply, that change can feel dramatic because the day supplied so much material. But deep processors do not possess a private form of sleep unavailable to everyone else. They may simply feel the contrast between daytime intensity and nighttime recovery more clearly. When sleep is shortened, that recovery becomes less reliable. Small frustrations feel larger, attention becomes less stable, and uncertainty becomes harder to tolerate. You notice more problems, trust your darkest interpretations, and carry even more unfinished material into the next night. Poor sleep can masquerade as insight because every signal suddenly feels urgent. But urgency is not accuracy. An exhausted mind may correctly notice a change in someone's voice, while becoming worse at explaining what that change means. Protecting sleep is not stepping away from intelligence. It is protecting the quality of your interpretation. And what about waking at 2 or 3 in the morning? Historian Roger Eckhart documented many references to first and second sleep in pre-industrial Western records. Those accounts show that segmented sleep existed, not that every ancestor followed one natural schedule encoded in human DNA. A brief awakening can be normal when you return to sleep and function well the next day. The problem often grows when you check the clock and begin calculating tomorrow's collapse. One awake moment becomes evidence that the entire night is ruined. The body woke briefly, but prediction turned wakefulness into an emergency. A mind that processes deeply usually needs a transition into sleep, not a command. You cannot spend the final hour answering Slack messages, watching online conflict, and solving tomorrow's problems, then demand instant silence. Choose a point when work, news, and emotionally demanding conversations stop entering the night. Lower the light and give your senses fewer new details to organize. Then move unfinished thoughts somewhere outside your head. Write tomorrow's tasks, the question you cannot solve tonight, and the next action morning can handle. This is called cognitive offloading, and it gives the mind permission to stop rehearsing information for protection. If one event keeps returning, separate what happened from what you are assuming happened. Name what remains outside your control. When you wake during the night, avoid turning the clock into a scoreboard whenever possible. Let wakefulness be uncomfortable without declaring it dangerous. The goal is not to perform sleep perfectly. The goal is to stop making sleep fight the entire day for control of your attention. Persistent insomnia, nightmares, loud snoring, breathing pauses, or severe daytime sleepiness deserve professional assessment. Sensitivity may explain how a sleep problem feels, but it should never be used to dismiss something treatable. Sleep is not where your real self disappears. It is where the brain negotiates with everything the day asked you to carry. Some memories become stronger, some connections are adjusted, some emotions change tone, and much remains scientifically unresolved. You wake with continuity, but not perfect sameness. Perhaps real intelligence is not the ability to keep thinking after everyone else has stopped. Perhaps it is recognizing when thought has completed its work and rest must begin. Your sensitivity becomes wisdom only when it includes sensitivity to your own limits. Every night, sleep asks you to release control without losing yourself. And every morning, it gives you another chance to decide what truly deserves your depth. Tell me in the comments which part of the night is hardest for your mind to release. Thank you for staying with me until the end. I'm Alex, and I'll see you in the next video.